All right, welcome to the shop. As the title of the video implies, it's Dubro Day. And with Dubro Day comes a lot of packages, and it's great because it's not even Christmas time yet. I still celebrate Thanksgiving, and so should you. So I am grateful at this moment for companies like Dubro that provide amazing quality products for our models. So I'm going to dive in. I'm going to share with you guys all of the Dubro stuff that's going in this plane because boy howdy, this plane's finally coming together. Now, something that was pointed out on the last video on the Cub was I really didn't cover the hardware too well on the cowl for the Cub. So really what these are these are the catalog 201, the rigging couplers. They're 256 thread rigging couplers. They look like this. It's just a threaded rod with an eyelet on the end. And I simply drilled a hole into the wood, and that's why I have a block on the back, and used a cutoff wheel on my Dremel to shorten it up. And that's it. That's really it. There's no glue. There's no glue intentionally because if there are vibrations that need me to tighten this a little bit more, I can. And that way I can actually service the model that way. So again, catalog 201, threaded couplers. I stand corrected. I kept on using the term cotter pins. These are not cotter pins. These are hairpins. So yeah, these are hairpins like body clips that you would use on RC cars. So that's what these are, little tiny ones. And there's a little brass washer so that it sort of takes up the gap, but also keeps the pin away from the surface and helps avoid some of the chafing. That's it. So let's move on. So just giving you a quick overview, all of the painting is done on the fuselage. And you can see that I've also got the tail assembled. We'll get there. We'll get there. But starting up here in the nose, a number of things had to happen. First and foremost, I've got my fillet fuel system installed, and it works great. Nice and scale feature, and it goes down through the firewall into the tank. The tank here needs to be secured still, working on a scale feature for that. And the hardware used to secure the engine, I'm using the 1032 bolts as well as T-nuts on the firewall. And then I am using some of the really flexy throttle cable. It's catalog number 343 if you are taking notes. This stuff is super, super flexible. And it doesn't kink as you try to push it through. What's really nice about it too is it takes solder very, very well. So I did solder ends on this. As you can see, I used a threaded coupler, soldered that on, and I'm using a ball link so that it removes a lot of the slop and I can easily service it. Has some adjustability here, but on the opposite end, I simply used a quick link, actually used a square lock there just because of reaching in and tightening things. But I flowed solder through the cable to stiffen it up. And so because it's a brass fitting with solder, those are two soft metals, so that is an inspection point. As you're assembling your model, it is important to note specific inspection points, and this is one of those. I will need to frequently inspect this just to make sure that the throttle linkage isn't coming loose. I will certainly need to inspect this after the first flight and make sure that it hasn't come loose then, and see if I need to alter it or change the linkage setup. But that's just sort of growing pains with any new model. And from there, I can go in and inspect periodically and see what needs to be tightened up. And that's just the way life goes. You know how these materials behave, you make note of it, and you address them. Make sure that you're a safe pilot. Moving on. All right, moving into the cockpit here, you can see I've got a wire here. This is for my remote glow, and you can see the little clips that have been installed. That has all been installed, everything as well. Need to run this through the floor, so that's why it's just hanging out there. You can see the tray is a bit of a mess here, and that's because I've been working on all of my linkages. So here is one of those square lock connectors, and I'm using a 440 rod. I did drill this out ever so slightly to make it fit, just because reaching in here is kind of difficult, and I wanted to be able to use needle nose pliers to hold that sufficiently when I torque down that nut. Okay, and I am using the 440 pull system for my rudder as well, and I made sure that it is equidistant between these two and the ones down on the tail. We're not getting into that argument. We're just cut that crap out right now, okay? All right, moving on. As we move it down, you can see that the stripe gives way to the lovely Cub decal that I got from Cali, applied as well. And the pinstripe does continue on the rudder. Got the numbers all painted up. All of that was easily masked. You can see I've got my stitches and my patches all in place, all over the tail. They look just awesomely scale. I'm a huge fan of this. Huge fan. So with those in place, everything has had a clear coat at this point. And with the clear coat, I've been able to start doing assembly, which also means that I've been using the Dubro hinges as well. So hinges installed. Additionally, I've been using the T-style control horns. Like I said, I've got the 440 rod because it's nice and thick. Going over a long distance, I want to make sure that it doesn't bend. And I'm using the quick links, the spring steel quick links. They're awesome, the 440 ones. These are catalog 601, and they are amazing. They come with these little spring retainers that help keep the quick link closed. Like I said, T-style control horns. I did use a couple of 440 hex nuts. Where did I use those? So the way the T-horn is designed to work is you screw it into this plastic backer through, and it creates a clamping motion on your control surface. Very secure. Little not scale. However, what is different is that when you go to use a pull system, you need to use each side, but you don't have a backer. And so I used the nuts here in place of a backer. And so I just alternated to keep things equally clamped for those who like to argue one way or the other. Using all the good hardware, still need to tighten everything up. I literally just finished all of this stuff. So yeah, next thing is to get the springs on the tail wheel. Turns like that. Okay. And let's go over some of the other things that I have on the table. So before I have talked about how I'm doing an individual glow driver system that's sort of my own concoction, and the way that was planned to use, so it's a buck converter, okay? It's a step-down buck converter, DC to DC buck converter, easily found on Amazon, and so I'm pulling around 8 amps at 1.4 volts. So I essentially have to have an on-off switch for this. And the way that I previously was doing it was with this little switch. And it says that it's rated to 8 amps, but it seems, it's like a little MOSFET, and it just seems like the heat dissipation, I don't know. It made me nervous. So we're going with a relay. So the nice thing about this is that this is a PWM activated relay switch. So essentially you have your positive come in, your positive come out and your grounds meet in the middle. And then the PWM switch clicks on and off. And so there you can set a throttle curve in your transmitter that will effectively turn this on when you want to within the throttle curve and then turn it off when you don't want it. And so it's just an on-off switch that coordinates with this. So you have this connected to your battery, which then goes to here. This goes to the radio. And then these outlets go to the engine for the glow drivers. Clear as mud? Good. I know that's a lot to go over very quickly, but it really is quite simple. There are a couple of adjustments on it to control the voltage. I mean, it's just literally a matter of controlling the voltage and the current on this particular unit. It's not any big mystery or secret or anything like that. You just got to adjust it beforehand. Yeah, so assembling the fuel line system is really straightforward. If you haven't seen the Dubro 101 videos on the fuel tank, again, not a big mystery here. We do have the vent from the exhaust that's going inside the cowl to the tank to provide pressure. Yeah, so it's all ready to continue on assembly at this point. What else? As things assemble in the cockpit area, I do have these lines, which are for the aileron servos. I do have some heat shrink tube on these, and I want to try to tuck these out of the way somehow so that they stick less prominently and don't look like an eyesore. Just cable management, but also neat and tidy is what I'm going for. I've got some of these wire clip things. Forget where I put them. Oh, here they are. These things that they're for home improvement, like you tack down little wires if you're doing new home construction or something like that. So I was thinking maybe I could use some of these to like CA those down and hold them in place. So we'll see if that works out. But otherwise, it's a matter of getting the cowl on fully. But I wanted to leave it off to show you guys, particularly the attachment point, but also how everything is just fully mounted up. Fuel filter. I've got the Dubro fuel filter in there. This is a vent tube from the engine, so I've got to cut a hole in the bottom of here. So that's part of the reason that it's off as well. But everything is looking great. But having the front canopy off, being able to reach into the cockpit has been a lifesaver. Do yourself a favor if you're assembling a club. This guy loves his sandwiches too much. A cub that you take the minute to not install the windscreen just yet. That's one of the last things you want to do. But as you can see, the wings are waiting in the wing to have their paint applied as well. The ailerons have been painted, so they're good to go. But I want to do some additional lettering. Obviously, we need to do lettering on top and bottom of these wings, and that's going to be done with paint because I ordered paint masks from Cali. So that's up next after I do some yellow blending, and that's my dirty little secret. So yeah, I paid $50 for this really expensive automotive paint that just it's great paint. It really is. Just doesn't blend very well with other yellows. And as you know, yellow is this friendly color. It's a good hue. So what have I done? I've cheated. Okay, I've cheated. I found a really, really, really close yellow. And since I'm going kind of standoff scale, I'm using some cheating here anyway. The sun fading will be real anyway on this model because, again, I'm using the Sato stickers. The engine doesn't exactly fit the way the Lenape Papoose does. So yeah, I'm taking some artistic liberties, and the yellow, it was a good compromise for me given how dissatisfied I was with the 2 different yellow Oratex coverings. You can still see the texture fabric, but yeah, that's my cheat code. That plus a good fuel resistant clear coat, which was the bulk of the curing time, if I'm being honest. So we've got struts to do on the tail, we've got wings to paint, we've got a cockpit to assemble and things to program. It's coming together. It's coming together. We're approaching the finish line here. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a wild ride on this project. I have loved every minute of it. There are still some fun little scale detail things that I can do here and there, and I look forward to doing those as I continue to enjoy this model more and more. If you guys want to get your hands on some of these great Dubro products, head on over to Dubro.com, use code Josh10 at checkout, save yourself 10%. Also look out for their mailings. You may have a better coupon code than that, and feel free to use it as well. Until next time, continue to have a Dubro kind of day with your flying works of art.